Hello there and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the penventure YouTube channel. I'm your host Amy, and for the next few moments, I'm going to showcase a video review for a not that known model of a fountain pen from the Italian brand Leonardo Officina Italiana, the Tredici, the 13. And I don't know about you, but for me, 13 is a very, very lucky number. Let's showcase the fountain pens. Amy, again, an Italian fountain pen review? Really? There is nothing wrong with having an Italian writing instrument as a subject for a review? After all, you're on the penventure YouTube channel. This is something awesome. Believe me, and I'm going to show you till the end of this video how awesome is this fountain pen, because it's not that known. And usually from Leonardo Officina Italiana, we are very familiar with models like, for example, Momento Zero, which is this one right here, a horn resin in gold trim, something that we recently added in our inventory. Furore, which is the smaller cigar-shaped fountain pen that was introduced after the Momento Zero. Then we have the Grandes, the oversized fountain pens. This is my Luna Rossa. Then we have the Furore Grande, the oversized version of the cigar model from Leonardo. But recently I've heard that Leonardo came up with an edition of the Tredici. This is a model that was inspired by, if you believe, a Tibaldi model, and I'm gonna attach a picture of that Tibaldi model. I believe it was called Tibaldi Imperio, although the Imperio is the celluloid of Tibaldi. I don't know if the model is called Imperio as well, but you will see that this fountain pen draw a lot of points from that Tibaldi model. And looking at it, I said it needs a video review because it has a lot of interesting traits. It looks apart from the other models, and I'm going to showcase it in this video. The fountain pen is part of a limited edition series of 70 pens for each of the two colors, and we have two very impressive colors. We have the Arlecchino resin and we have the blue Hawaii resin. Both of these materials are awesome because they do represent very, very interesting traits, and also they have a lot of story behind them. The blue Hawaii resin, the spaghetti resin, was the initial resin that puts Leonardo on the map in the true Hall of Fame pen manufacturers of Italy, because it's present on their first Momento Zero that was super successful, and it's a very, very beautiful material. And the second one is the Arlecchino resin, which is this one right here, and this resin with this beautiful colors, this green, olive green, orange, yellow, black, and all of this dispersed throughout this resin mimics the Arlecchino celluloid, which is an Omas celluloid with an interesting story, because Armando Simoni of Omas actually was designing fountain pens for the inner circle, the club. Armando Simoni Club is actually a group of people that had one goal: to love fountain pens and to collect them around Mr. Armando Simoni and the Omas brand. And he actually was looking to make a writing instrument, and he had some celluloid. So this is just the story that I've heard. I don't know if it's completely true like this, but actually one night he was pressured to make a fresh material for the gentlemen that were part of that group, and he threw some of this celluloid in a pasta making machine, and actually what came out is the Arlecchino celluloid, which is notoriously difficult to preserve, and it has a lot of value these days. And these two iconic materials, or let's just say the resin version of this materials, is present and available in the Tredici series. And I'm going to show you the box which comes with the Tredici 13, a bottle of black ink, and also the certificate of authenticity and the warranty guide, and I don't have them right here, but you know them by now. All of the combinations that's available on the Tredici and all trim colors right here in one picture. I'm gonna pick the Arlecchino, this one in rhodium. The Leonardo Tredici features a very simple shape. It is elongated. We have tapering in on both ends, on the piston knob and also on the cap. If we put it side by side a Momento Zero, we can clearly see that it shares some of the features, although the tapering in is much more familiar with the Furore model because it is more similar in regards of the tapering in being more abrupt than on the Momento Zero. The finial is pointy, and also we can clearly see that the fountain body and also the cap features facets. Those are not very big facets, but we are numbering 13 smaller facets that embellish this cap and body and give this fountain pen a 3D look and feel, and also the light is captured very interesting by those facets. The clip of the fountain pen is what Leonardo Officina Italiana is using on all of their models. Here we have a Furore Grande next to this Tredici, and the clip is basically the same. Then we have the cap ring configuration, 3 rings divided by some material. Now we have a little bit more space in between them, giving out this beautiful visual effect. The cap being a screw-in cap, one complete turn of the cap to uncap the fountain pen, and we are greeted by the nib, which in this case is the elastic fine nib. And on this fountain pens we have available both nibs, steel nibs and 14 karat gold nibs. Those come with different pricings, and this fountain pen equipped with a steel nib brings the pricing to 249 euros, no VAT, which is similar to a Momento Zero Grande. In gold, I believe we have from extra fine to stub a price of 415 euros, which I think is similar also to a Momento Zero Grande. And for the elastic fine and elastic extra fine in 14 karat gold, we have a pricing of 440 euros. Let's get back to the nib itself, because I'm going to show you how cool this nib looks. And of course, when we are dealing with a 14 karat elastic nib, aesthetic is something like a major point of the nib, because we have these 2 cutouts. We have the logo of Leonardo 14 karat 585 and the fine right here on the nib. Both the nib and feed are friction fitted inside this section. We have no screw-in nib unit because it comes with a ebonite feeder, which is handmade, cut, formed, shaped by Leonardo and attached to this nib, and the housing, it is glued to the section, so don't try to unscrew like any other resin fountain pen model from Leonardo lately produced, because it's not going to work. You just need to pull off the nib and the ebonite feeder from the section. This is a very comfortable section altogether. We have this flaring out towards the nib, because this will keep your fingers from slipping off and touching the nib. Then we have the section starting to pick up in girth towards the threads of the cap. Those are not sharp at all, but we do have this step up right here, which is a little bit more pronounced, and I don't think this is comfortable if you hold the fountain pen like so. And moving further, we have the barrel of the fountain pen starting to tapering in, and the much more thickest point of the barrel is right here. Then it starts to taper in towards the end knob. We don't have any dividing ring to show where the barrel is finishing and where the end knob is beginning. You can clearly see this beautiful facets that capture the light, and don't be fooled by this fountain pen thinking that it's easy to make, it's just facets. Facets take a lot of manufacturing time because have to do them individually, loading a machine with each individual part, cutting the facets, then you have to hand polish them, and then you will have to, when you assemble the fountain pen, each and every single part needs to fit, and all of those lines need to be straight, and all of those lines need to align when everything is screwed tight. And to be honest, I think this is why this fountain pen is a little bit underpriced in my opinion, because it is priced just like a Momento Zero Grande. But again, that's just personal opinion of mine. The piston knob, it's screw in. This is how the piston is working. This fountain pen is equipped with the in-house made piston filling mechanism of Leonardo Officina Italiana, which you can clearly see that's detachable using the Leonardo piston tool. Pretty much this sums up the details for the Leonardo Tredici. We will have a lot of talking points in my personal opinions at the end of the video, but till then, let me show you how this fountain pen looks side by side other Leonardo models, because I believe this fountain pen, it's in a very special place. It's in between what I call oversized from Leonardo and also too small for my taste from Leonardo. Here is the Leonardo Tredici next to a Leonardo Furore Grande, Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, Tredici, Momento Zero, Furore, and a Lamy Safari. As you can clearly see, the Tredici sits a little bit under the Momento Zero Grande, maybe a few millimeters, quite a lot under the Furore Grande, which is the biggest fountain pen in regards of length from Leonardo. The girth of the Tredici is a little bit lower than the Grande, and you can clearly see that it sits a little bit taller, like maybe 4 millimeters taller than the Momento Zero, and maybe it's quite similar with the Furore. And here we have a Lamy Safari, just for your comparison back at home. Maybe this is what you are more familiar with. Now let's have a look uncapped. It is exactly the same story like when it was capped. It sits a little bit under the Furore Grande, quite similar, maybe a touch lower than the Momento Zero Grande, a lot bigger than the Momento Zero, quite similar with the Furore uncapped. And Lamy Safari, just for you out there which are more familiar with the Lamy Safari. Now let's have some dimensions for this fountain pen. Capped like this, the fountain pen measures 149 millimeters. If we uncap the fountain pen, we have 133 millimeters from the tip of the nib to the back piston. Posted like so, the fountain pen measures 173 millimeters. The total weight of the fountain pen posted or closed in writing position like so, it has 24 grams, and the fountain pen without the cap, just the body fully inked, has 16 grams. Now I think it's time to have a writing sample, and I'm going to use this very gorgeous elastic fine point from this Leonardo, and let me arrange everything and get back to you with a clear view of the writing page. As for an ink, I'm going to use something which I would like to say it's a surprise, which I cannot wait to share with everyone, but more on that maybe in another video. Let's go. We have the pen Leonardo Tredici, and this is the Arlecchino, and we have the nib is 14 karat elastic F, and the ink, it's a secret. Then we have the paper, Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM. Let's go and have a wetness test. So we have pretty much a very wet ink flow. And when you have a ebonite feeder, I believe you have all that you need for a very rich and consistent ink flow. But these ebonite feeders need to have soaking in periods, and I believe the true ink flow of such a feeder can be observed maybe a few days after you put some ink in the fountain pen and you leave that ebonite feeder to be saturated with that ink and to be soaked in. It will have a lot more wetter ink flow than this, and this is quite wet for a fine nib. Anyway, let's get back and see some normal figure of eights, and I would put this nib to be quite a chubby or fat fine nib. Then let's have some flax, and I'm going to try to apply some pressure, not too much, not to bend this nib beyond that failure point. And we do have a lot of line variation. I believe it takes this nib from an European fine to a European broad. Could be more generous in regards of the line variation, but I believe this elastic Leonardo nibs need to have a break-in period. So the more you get to play with it, maybe in a few weeks, it will allow a little bit more line variation, and that is from personal use, this opinion of mine. Now let's use that famous sentence to see if everything works as it should. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I find this nib to be very sensitive, but there isn't anything wrong with that sensitivity. It actually is very precise, very nice. It is, let's just say, a nib which I think it's prone to shine in normal writing. It is the best of both worlds. You cannot make a nib to have perfect characteristics in regards of flex and to have the same nib in normal writing to feel pretty much brilliant. You will have to make a compromise, and in my opinion, this compromise, the elastic nibs from Leonardo, the 14-karat gold nib ones, are pretty much what you can maximally achieve with a compromise in regards of having some soft, some bounce, some snapback, and also to have a nib which is very practical in normal writing. And this is the Tredici lineup in all materials. We have Arlecchino resin and we have blue Hawaii resin, silver trim and gold trim on both fountain pens, and here we have the steel nibs as well as gold nibs on this fountain pen. So pretty much this is the entire combination that you can expect from the Tredici lineup. First of all, this is a model which is not that known, and this is why I accepted the challenge to do a video review and to showcase it in proper, let's just say, details, and to give you my opinion regarding this model. It's somewhat of an interesting fountain pen if you are looking to get something which is not super big. In regards of budget, this fountain pen is priced quite nicely versus other options from Leonardo because it offers a very nice package. You have limited edition to 70 pens. You have gold nibs and you have also steel nibs. Very competitive pricing on both of those. Then you have silver or gold. You have two iconic materials, Arlecchino resin and the blue Hawaii resin. Either you want to go with something which looks like one of the most elusive pen materials ever created by Mr. Armando Simoni, the Arlecchino celluloid, or maybe you want to have pretty much the material that put Leonardo Officina Italiana on the map, the blue Hawaii resin. You have the availability in the Tredici series on both of these fountain pens. And I believe it is a fountain pen which is comfortable to use. I would intend to use this fountain pen posted anyway, and not leaving it writing without the cap, because it is quite light. So if you have a gentle grip, if you have a gentle touch, if you have smaller hands, this is the perfect pen for you from Leonardo. The facets add a lot to the overall design of the fountain pen, because first of all, they capture the light like something out of this world. Now take a look at this, and this is just my studio lights shining on those facets. Somewhat of a point which I do believe for some it will be a selling point, and for some would be somewhat of I don't want this, is the fact that the fountain pen is not engraved. We don't have any engraving of Leonardo Officina Italiana, we don't have any branding, we don't have any limited edition number out of 70, and the only branding that we can clearly see is on the nib. So the nib is stamped just like any other Leonardo Officina Italiana nib, with the nib size, with the logo, Leonardo, Italy, but in the regards of having the fountain pen body engraved right here with Leonardo Officina Italiana, or on the opposite side of the clip to have the limited edition number, or maybe on the section, there isn't any engraving. This is a more minimalistic approach to this fountain pen, and for some, I believe, that don't like to have engravings and to show off the branding and all of that, could be a selling point. It's a practical fountain pen. You have every single aspect that you have present on a Momento Zero Grande. You have the ebonite feeder, you have both nibs, 14 karat, made by JOWO. Also, you will have elastic nibs, both in steel or gold. You will have different trims, you will have the same piston, you will have the detachable option via using the piston tool. You will have every single aspect of a super big oversized fountain pen from Leonardo. I would intend to recommend this fountain pen for someone that has smaller hands or wants to have a very practical fountain pen from Leonardo Officina Italiana, but the same person doesn't find the size of the Momento Zero fountain pen or the Furore, the smaller one, appealing. If you want a little bit bigger but you don't want the Momento Zero Grande or the Furore Grande size, this is just gut smack in the middle, and that's it. This is the one to get. Pretty much this sums up my opinion regarding the Tredici. This fountain pen is available on our website. Down below I will leave you the links. Thank you for spending your time with me on the penventure YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this Leonardo Officina Italiana Tredici 13 facets, smaller facets. For me, 13 is a very lucky number, and of course, if it's lucky for me, maybe we can turn that luck into your luck as well. Thank you very much for your support. If you stayed on this video for so much time, if you find my content useful, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up on this video. Click down below, give it a thumbs up. This will help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm to reach out to many more just like you. And if you want to help us grow the channel and to reach out to many more beautiful people of our fountain pen community, don't forget to subscribe. You can do that right now. Just click there, turn the notification bell on, and you will be notified whenever we have content. Speaking about new content, I'm going to leave you this video right here. You can click and enjoy. As always, it's me, your host, Amy, and I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, stay safe, bye-bye.